Okay, good morning, good evening, or good night for you. So, this is the subject that we are going to discuss after the midterm test. There will be two more topics, and the first topic after the LTS is what we call appearance versus reality. Now, let's look at these images. This is taken from Machiavelli, who says that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few really know what you are. This is a classic concept, or in this case, through an image of what appearance versus reality is. So sometimes we only look at the appearance without knowing the reality, just like the small girls on the left with wearing white, smiling nicely, and then there's this rough guy on the right with loose shirt and beard and looks scary. But if you look at the reality, what they hold behind their back is actually the other way around. The nice girl is holding an axe, while the looking bad guy is bringing some flowers. So this is illustration of how appearance sometimes deceive us, and how reality sometimes is not as what we expected. So it comes up to what is reality. This is the big question that even today nobody can actually say for sure what reality is, because reality is complicated, and of course the thing that may be considered to be reality may be different from one person to another. So the question what is reality relates to the topic of appearance versus reality. Sometimes when we talk about reality, we mostly depend on our senses, what we can see, what we can hear, where we can touch, what we can taste. Those things that we can feel with our senses are called reality. So that is the basic answer uh, to that question by most people when they are asked what is reality. So the indicators are the things that you can feel with your senses. But is that enough to say that something is real, or can we really depend on our senses to distinguish between reality and non-reality? All right, so let's say that we depend on reality based on our senses. Now, when we go to Disney World, we can see castle with our eyes, we can touch them, we can smell them if you want, and then we can see various characters alive. We can really see them exactly like we know them from comic book or from film. So is this reality? If you say that reality is something depending on your senses, and the thing in Disney World all can be sensed, but the question remains, is this reality? What about this one? Or is this one real? Have we seen these kids who suffer from uh, poverty and also famine? Have we ever seen them with our own eyes? Probably never, right? We probably only see them through newspaper or TV or documentary. So we never actually see them in person. So can we say that they are real? These very skinny, almost just bones to the skin childrens, are they real? Although because we have never seen them in person. And again, so we are here faced by the difficulties of saying that reality based on our perception or senses, because there are a lot of things in this world that are real, but we never actually perceive them with our senses. So then we can do reality check. First, reality that is based on the existence of things. It relies on human senses or perception. For example, does Donald Duck exist in reality? The answer can be yes if we have been to Disney World or Disneyland and see Donald Duck in costume, of course, with our own eyes. Or the answer can also no. Even though I can see it, I know that it is merely outer appearance, thus unreal, because someone is actually inside the costumes and we know that it is not real. But probably for kids who cannot yet perceive or see reality as we adult, maybe they think that Donald Duck character is actually alive in Disney World, so they don't know that there's someone else inside the costume. So it can be yes, it can be no. In this context, our logic plays along. So it's not only our senses, but there's also our logic. It is illogical to really believe that Donald Duck actually live in the reality. We know that it is Donald Duck. We can see it, we can hear her or him, but we know logically that that character is just imagination. What about the hungry people, hungry children? Are they real? Do we need to see with our own eyes in person to be able to say that something is real? Can we even believe what we see? Well, the answer to that is probably no. How many times have we deceived by our own senses? It's many, many times. So can we still depend on our senses about perceiving reality? Number two, reality that is based on the nature of the things. This is the second kind of reality. Oftentimes based on constructed or stereotypical perception. For example, a tattooed person is typically associated with being wild or rebellious or scary. Is it true? Or is it merely an impression? So which one is reality? So it depends on how you, throughout your life, are told about the impression of tattooed people. If you live in Maori, maybe in New Zealand, and then you see someone with tattooed, you will never relate them to uh, gangster or bad people because it is part of their culture. But if you are born in Indonesia, you will have a different impression because since childhood, maybe your parents have been telling you that people with tattoo are usually gangster. So that is another kind of reality that is constructed, not as it is. So then we come back to the question of how reliable is our senses to perceive reality. Can we really believe our senses to distinguish reality? So if you look at senses and reality, our senses can be said to be the windows through which we perceive and understand the world around us because human beings mostly depend on their senses to perceive the reality. And these senses of us provide us with invaluable information about our surrounding and help us navigate our daily lives. But the question is how reliable are our senses in capturing the true nature of reality? Now, this is tricky. How reliable are our senses in capturing the true nature of reality? So, sense perception, based on our five senses sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, is often considered a trustworthy source of knowledge, but of course, not the only one, and sometimes, or most, or even more than often, it is not trustworthy. We rely on our senses to inform us about the world, to guide our actions, and to make sense of our experiences. However, it is important to realize that our senses have limitations and can be influenced by cognitive biases and also external factors. So these are three things that you have to consider when you say that reality can be perceived 100% by our senses. It is not like that, because there are factors, variables that play along um, when we try to perceive something as real. Just like this illustration on the left, when someone look at a picture or number on the ground, the one on the left says 6, but the one on the right says 9. So who's correct? I mean, both are correct. It's just different perspective. So our brain plays a crucial role in interpreting the information we receive through our senses. Our brain filters, processes, synthesizes the sensory data, which can sometimes lead to errors in perceptions. And additionally, there are external factors such as environmental condition, emotional states that can also affect our perception and distort our understanding of reality. So, senses or our sense in its limitation, there's also a matter of perception regarding how people see a similar reality. For example, you can see it in the following picture. Same reality, the same image, but if you notice, there are two pictures inside. There's a picture of a girl from behind, and the other one is a photo of a old lady looking to the right, or to the left, sorry. Can you see it? So this is, if the little girl means, this is the nose, and this is the cheek of the little girl, this is the ear and the hair of the little girl with the head. But the old lady, this becomes the nose of the old lady, and this becomes the mouth, the chin, and the eyes of the old lady with the same head. So two realities in one pictures. So this is a matter of perception. And then another one, this is a famous one, either duck or rabbit, right? To the left is a duck, to the right is a rabbit. Or this is another famous illustration when a group of blind men are told to touch an elephant and describe what an elephant is looks like, or what animal is this. And then, well, some people touching uh, the trunk will say it's a snake, and then someone touching the ear, it's a fan, and then touching the body is a wall, touching the feet it's a tree, and touching the tail is a rope, and also it is a spear, yeah, touching its tusk. So this is the same reality but different perception. Or you can also see this illustration on the right. Both think that the coming or the arrival of one of another is a good thing, that he is safe, but actually this man is looking for land and this one is looking for someone who save him. So they both scream, but well, reality hits that they are now stranded in this small island. So the bittersweet meeting of perception and reality. Yeah, I'm safe, but nobody is actually safe. So after we look at all those reality or illustration, can we still be sure about the reliability of our senses as the ultimate reality checker? Maybe now we think that no, we cannot rely solely on our senses to perceive reality, because sometimes it could be constructed, it could be distorted, and it could have different perception, and sometimes it is the fault of our senses. So it is difficult to say that our senses are 100% reliable to check the reality. So going back to the pictures of Disney characters versus hungry children, which one do you think most people prefer to perceive as real? Now, here we also play with a feeling, or the what is it? A feeling or also emotion, because most people usually prefer to have something nice, good, so they will see the characters in Disney as reality, while the poor children or the famine children is not real because they don't want to feel something bad, or they don't want to feel emotionally disturbed by something that is probably not good to their senses. So this is another take on the two options. So most of the time people choose appearances than reality, and most of the time they ignore or unaware of realities that are not favorable to them, just like the hungry children. And most of the time the appearance is merely appearance, which can be deceiving or has nothing to do with reality. This is the reality of today, that appearance is way more important than reality, especially in our capitalistic world, where looks are number one. So sometimes they don't really care about the reality as long as they appear or look good to other people. One reason people can be ambiguous about using their senses to check reality is that they tend to prefer reality that suits them and deny reality that does not suit them. And is this okay? Well, it's very normal. That's the nature of human being. I mean, most people try to live as comfortably as they can rather than just to face reality that's probably harsh. So it is just normal to for people to prefer reality that suits them rather than something that does not suit them. That's why in Indonesian there's a saying, lari dari kenyataan. Yeah, it means that well, reality is bitter, so sometimes we need to run away from it and find some escape from the reality. And Iris Murdoch, poet, once said that we live in a fantasy world, a world of illusion. The great task in life is to find reality. So this is what Murdoch wants to say, that she already thinks about this argument or discussion about reality versus appearance, and she thinks that it is the ultimate purpose of human to find reality, because sometimes she said that this fantasy or this world is a fantasy, it's a world of illusion. And there are also some other philosophers talking about reality versus appearance. For example, a Roman poet named Phaedrus say that things are not always as they seem. The first appearance deceives many. So the idea of appearance versus reality is seen in everyday life, including relationships, religion, school studies. So appearance versus reality is one of the most common themes also used in literature to this day and has been explored in many ways. For example, Macbeth, if you still remember, when Lady Macbeth, after doing a evil deed, she could not wash her hands clean enough, so she always thought that there's something in her hand. So that's why I say out them spot out, because the reality that she is living was haunted by the guilty feeling. So that guilty feelings haunted her in form of illusion that she seems to be not able to wash her hands clean from the blood. Or Hamlet also, when he met the ghost of his father who was killed by his uncle, that's also an illusion. And Hamlet was doubtful whether is this a real ghost of his father or just my mind playing trick on me, saying things that I want to hear. So those theme relates to appearance versus reality that you can also find in many literary works. And of course, our perception of reality is mostly subjective. it is based on our knowledge, our experience, our background, our cultural norms, our upbringing. So all those things really affect our perception of reality. So similar reality may mean differently to different people, even to your parents, to your sisters, the one who close to you. They may see reality, the same reality, differently from you, let alone different people from different countries. And this is one of the case, our contemporary case of on appearance versus reality is the social media effect, the AI, deepfake, filter. So if you can see this illustration, this one girl looks like she is like having fun on the beach, but it turns out that the reality is that she just stand in front of a big projector screen and take a picture of her. Well, this is also a a way to deceive reality and think that this is a reality, but actually it's not. All right, so this is one example of AI as the news anchor. Let's just watch this for a while.
Hello, everyone. I'm an English artificial intelligence anchor. This is my very first day in Xinhua News Agency. The development of the media industry calls for continuous innovation and deep integration with the international advanced technologies. I will work tirelessly to keep you informed as texts will be typed into my system, uninterrupted. I look forward to bringing you the brand new news experiences. As an AI news anchor under development, I know there is a lot for me to improve.
Right. What's interesting from that clip is the that fact at the end the data that AI will create a certain number of million new job, but at the same time in the same period it will also eliminate almost 2 million jobs that is existing already. So that's a challenge for you as a new generation that you have to figure out what kind of skill or ability that will fit you in the future AI generation. Well, maybe in your lifetime. All right, so let's continue.
Hello.
And this is an example of deepfake. Deepfake is another AI tool that used to change your voice into someone famous, or creating a voice of someone famous and then synchronize it with the face of that person, so as if that person actually saying that thing, yeah. But actually it's not, it's deepfake, and this is dangerous because it can mislead or spread hoax to people. And this is an example.
Pop star Taylor Swift, and politicians such as US President Joe Biden.
It's important that you save your vote for the November election.
UK Labour leader Keir Starmer and London's Mayor Sadiq Khan have all found themselves victims of deepfakes in recent months.
I control the Met Police. They will do as the Mayor of London tells them and obey orders.
Whether it's fake explicit images or audio recordings of conversations that haven't ever happened, dodgy deepfakes created using readily available AI-powered tools have spread like wildfire across social media, sowing seeds of mistrust and blurring the lines between reality and often malicious fiction. But in this confused and confusing landscape, what happens when politicians use deepfake technology themselves? To find out, we need to take a trip from the Big Smoke to the Big Apple. Attention's focused here in Lower Manhattan, New York City Hall. It's become almost commonplace for bad actors to deepfake politicians, but it's unusual for politicians to deepfake themselves. That's something that the Mayor of New York has actually done. Towards the end of last year, Mayor of New York, Eric Adams, revealed in a press conference that he'd used deep-fake technology to make a series of automated or robocalls to NYC residents. In these calls, which mainly promoted the hiring of venues owned by the city, the mayor was able to speak a variety of languages, including Mandarin, Cantonese, and Spanish, using deepfake tech. These actions have raised more than a few eyebrows in certain quarters. To find out more, I needed to leave Manhattan and head to Brooklyn. It's here I caught up with civil rights and privacy campaigner Albert Fox Khan. He believes the mayor's use of AI sets a dangerous precedent.
And to me, it's really just this alarming wake-up call about the potential for abuse of these deepfake technologies. When you normalize the use of this sort of deepfake technology, when you use it to convey authentic government announcements, then you're basically educating the public that deepfakes are reliable, that you should trust what you hear in a deepfake. There's huge potential to use deepfakes to really undermine trust in government and trust in our institutions.
The mayor's office declined our request for an interview, but Eric Adams has publicly stated New York City will be doing more stuff with AI and will use it and not abuse it. Political use of this technology is on the rise around the world. Henry Ida is an authority on deepfakes and AI.
This isn't just a Western phenomenon, it's really global. And one that really springs to mind happened in India, where a BJP candidate, that's the ruling party, used a similar technology to essentially speak different regional dialects that he couldn't actually speak. And in this example, it wasn't disclosed clearly to the audience that this was AI generated. And when it emerged that it was, the actual BJP party disowned this use and kind of decried it as something that they didn't want. And then more recently in the Indonesian elections that happened earlier this year, we saw an avatar of a synthetically resurrected, deceased previous leader coming back to endorse one of the candidates.
Presiden Indonesia.
But in the Argentinian elections late last year, we saw both candidates using AI-generated images to depict the opponents as weak, but also to embolden themselves, making them look like heroes or strong men. My concern, I guess, is that if we do start to see politicians really embracing this, and this becoming a much more high-volume form of political communication, it will lead to increasing distrust in media of politicians more broadly.
There's an estimated 2 billion people voting in elections across the globe this year. The stakes have never been higher when it comes to determining political fact from fake.
Okay, so that's the example of how quite alarming, the use of AI, especially for politicians, because some people argue that it will lessen the trust to the government. So it make people distrust the government because they know that it's not the government themselves speaking whatever they speak out to the public, but it's AI generated. So well, let's see, because I think AI will still be around for many years to come. And this is another example of social media fake life, which probably, I don't know, I hope you don't do it, but lots of people do this for creating a, you know, a life that is ideal, although they are not living in an ideal world. Okay, so that's how our life is like, yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah, as I said, hopefully we do not use it like that as social media. Okay, and then also we have filters that somehow uh, creates this appearance versus reality theme. Let's see.
I just woke up. This is not what I look like right now. This filter should be illegal. Here's the real me. Oh my gosh.
It's the new face filter raising eyebrows, literally, on TikTok.
I'm gonna take this off to show you what I actually look like. Trigger warning.
It's called Bold Glamour Filter, and it turns anyone into a supermodel.
Okay, this is my face. Texture, pores. This, on the other hand, is witchcraft.
Women across the country are giving it a try.
You need to see what I look like without this filter.
Even celebrities like Katherine Heigl can't believe their eyes. Facial plastic surgeon Dr. Monica Q tried it out for herself.
It makes the brows lifted, the cheeks more sculpted, the nose slightly more refined, and then the lips, it makes it a lot plumper and juicier looking.
Here's what she looks like with the filter. Now it's my turn.
Here I am without the filter. Now let's try the Bold Glamour filter.
Oh my goodness, that is very dramatic. Look at my eyes.
Wow, this is very glamorous.
All right, so that's another thing that deceive our senses, the filters that used to, yeah, to make you look more glamorous or pretty. But again, this is another option, or I mean, if you really focus on appearance, maybe this is going to be this is a good way for you to well, improve your appearance. But then again, it's not reality. So this is another aspect of appearance versus reality that we face today. So, as Daniel Webster, an American orator and senator, said, the world is governed more by appearances than realities, so that it is fully as necessary to seem to know something as to know it. So basically, he agreed that in general, appearances are more dominant than realities in how people live their lives. And then Nietzsche also say about the appearance versus reality when he said that people do not want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. So, in other words, much of what goes on in the world is due to what people think rather than what actually is. Therefore, the only thing one must do is present himself or herself in the way he or she wants others to believe he or she truly is. So think about this. All right, so that is the topic for today about appearance versus reality, how it comes at the beginning and then how it becomes more problematic with the presence of AI in our world that can really penetrate, infiltrate anything, any aspect in our lives, especially in terms of appearances versus reality. So the next thing you do is please do this quiz, a very short quiz. Yeah, just scan on this. You can go back to the video if you haven't scanned it yet and do the quiz. And as for the assignment, here's the assignment regarding appearance versus reality. Okay, so this is your individual assignment. You will have to make a presentation video just like you did before, and the deadline is on the 20th of May 2025. Submit your presentation video via our WhatsApp group. And this is the question. So find a real case in society, or even better, your own experience, where you find the issue of appearance versus reality. And based on that case, please answer these questions. First, you provide a short explanation of what the case is about, and then answer which one is important in the case you discuss, appearance versus reality. And the third one, based on the first question, why do you think the person or group of people in your case prefer the one as more important than the other? All right, so that's the questions for your video presentation. Okay, so that's the end of our topic today, appearance versus reality. So I'm looking forward to listening to your video presentation. Due date on the 20th of May. Have a good one, and I'll see you next year.